So, hello everyone. So you just met today in the morning during the kickoff of Moving the Cities 2024. And now I'm recording for you some information about the floats that we have this year here in Brazil, especially here in Porto Alegre and São Leopoldo. So the idea is to bring to you some information about what we have here and asking you for your help, that you can think about new ideas and better ideas to reconstruct Rio Grande do Sul. Rio Grande do Sul is the state in the south of Brazil, so then where Porto Alegre is located and São Leopoldo where Unicinos is. And then I will bring to you today some information, more pictures, then you can have a sense what happened this year here. So, and then we start with the worst climate catastrophe of Rio Grande do Sul this year. So this year we have this catastrophe, this climate catastrophe here, and we had 478 affected cities, and it was in the whole state. Why I'm saying this is because last year we have also another climate catastrophe, but it was located in a part of the state, not in the whole state. And this year it was really bad because all the state was affected. So 95% of our cities were affected. So as you can see here in this map, the red map, so are the cities that were affected this year. And as I said to you, last year we had the same catastrophe, but it was located in this point of red points in the state. This is a map of the Rio Grande do Sul state. And this year you can see we are in this hole from April until May, so we have this red cities here that were affected. So we had more than 35,000 people that had to move to shelters. And Unicinos was one of the biggest shelters in Rio Grande do Sul. We had here with us around 2,000 people during the whole month. So it started at the beginning of May until the end of May. And then I'll talk a little bit more about that during the presentation. So this year we had more than 108 deaths directly because of this catastrophe, but we still have some deaths that are occurring because of disease. And then we are trying to get back on the track with the health system here in Rio Grande do Sul. We're still having some rescue actions that are ongoing, because we have some missing people that are in a difficult place where you can achieve. So you cannot enter exactly in that place. So we are working together with our firefighters and also the civil defense from Rio Grande do Sul. And this is something that we still have to work on. So as you can see, we had between April and May, and the whole May month, a very persistent rainfall in extraordinary volumes. So we have more than 3 months expected rain volume in 1 week. So, and then the average was around 420 millimeters accumulated between April and May. It is very much for this week. And we had more than 15 dams under pressure, and as you can see here, the pictures are really impressive. As you can see here in this picture, the river came to the city, so to historical river levels. So it was the highest river level since 1941, when we had another flood in Porto Alegre. So you can see here the flood containment system under stress in the city of Porto Alegre. We had a damage in health infrastructure, and we had more than 400 blocked points in the whole state. Bridges were collapsed. Our airport was closed for 6 months. It just opened today in the morning, as I said to you in the kickoff meeting today. Essential services were interrupted, and we had more than 13,000 points without electricity in the whole state. Logistics were compromised. Impact on production, supply, employment, and incomes, on the industry. And this was something that the worldwide recognize that it was a catastrophe, so a really bad catastrophe. And the metropolitan region, as you can see here, so here is the state of Rio Grande do Sul, and then you can see here is Porto Alegre in the metropolitan region. Everything was under the water, so I'm talking about 5 meters underwater. Here is the city center of Porto Alegre, and here is the bus station, so for transports. And here, as you can see, the infrastructure to enter in the city was collapsed. So, and you are without possibility to go through the roads here. So you can see Porto Alegre was almost under the water. It's a place in Porto Alegre where I'm living. So I live in a hill in Porto Alegre. It was not affected. So near the river, it was very bad. So the hospitals also were partial under the water. And here's another city in the metropolitan region, Canoas. It was very, very bad affected. And here you can see the people when they try to go out from the house to try to save something for the family. Another cities here, so you can see it is the metropolitan region. And also more than the metropolitan region were affected. And here is the Vale do Rio dos Sinos, where Unicinos is located. It was also very severe affected. You can see under the water. And as you can see here, here's the city center of São Leopoldo. And what happened here, it was the dikes from the city, they collapsed. And then the water from the river came to the city. And the people have to leave their house and they went to a shelter. But in the night of May 1st, also the river, it was so high and this shelter was also affected. So they have to move out for another shelter, and then it was when Unicinos started to receive these people here in our sports center. As you can see here, another cities in the region were also affected. And this is something that the state starts to work on crisis management challenges. So because the things were very bad and the access to the roads were blocked, they have to work with a small contingent of people. And then we had a lot of devastated areas, compromised public service, logistics and donations. More than 500 shelters were in 80 different cities, so small shelters and big ones. And this was when we opened the Unicinos shelter in the beginning of May, in a night from Friday to Saturday. This is Unicinos campus in São Leopoldo. So it's a big and very spread campus in São Leopoldo. And here you can see this is our sport complex where our shelter was located. We had here more than 10,000 meals a day because we had around 2,000 people living here and we served 5 meals a day. And we had kids, we had seniors, we had babies, also animals. So the people that came here to Unicinos shelter, they came with their dogs, cats, and also a goat. Yes, we had a goat here as well. And we had more than 600 volunteers working here with us. Most of them our students and our faculties, professors. So it was great to work with them. And the nice thing is we want to help, but we didn't know exactly how, because we just knew that we want to do something for that people, and then we opened the complex. But we didn't have any preparation for that. So we started to work everything together. The people were coming in the beginning, so around 6 o'clock in the morning, they started to come here to us. And we opened the doors, and it was a rainy morning, and it just started, okay, think. And then we thought, okay, we have to give some food. Then we start to cook. When the day goes, the people, they start to ask us about mattress to sleep. And we thought, oh my God, mattress, we don't have this. So then we started to look into our complex what we have, but the city people, the people that were not affected, they start to come and bring mattress and something to help. It was really great to see, but also scary. Then what we have done was our people that from our health school, so medicals, our medicals professors, our pharmaceuticals, nursing, and all the people from the health school, they start to come, and then we organize something for the health part, so also for mental health, and then we start to organize those things. But the university were prepared to our students to receive a number of students per day, not 2,000 people that were living here, and they will live this for the whole month. Then we start to face some difficulties with water supply, also with food, and then we start to construct a water treatment station because we have a lake, so a small lake here, but we have to work to treat this water, to bring this for the people, and then to cook. We received some donations from water from the whole Brazil, and then our people from gastronomy, from all our undergraduate programs were involved to cook and to serve the people that were there. So I will bring you some pictures that you can have a sense about that. Here is the water treatment station. As you see, some days we had rainy, really bad rain, and some days we had this blue sky. So was when we could construct this with our professors and students from the civil engineering, and then we still have this there, so working on water. And then we have our labs. Then we treat the water, we test the water, and then we could bring this as a safe water for the people, even to drink, but also to shower and wash their clothes and so on. And also our people from our sport, they were in charge to bring some fun to the kids that were there. So we have Olympic Games for the kids that were here, because we had a lot of kids here. And it was great, because in this difficult time, we could bring some fun for the kids. Here also the people from the gastronomy and every volunteer that want to help, we just accepted that. And we are very, very grateful for all of them. Here we have some visitors also from National Force. So here are doctors that are not from our undergraduate programs, but they came from Brazil, so it's not from us. And we serve some food for the people, and we have fun with the kids. We have also a pharmacy here, and with the donations, so we prepare some stores where the people could come and ask for clothes, for shoes, and everything that they needed. Here it was the Olympic champions here, so with the kids. We have some cinema with kids. And after that, we have also worked with the municipality to reconstruct a little bit about the city. But first of all, to look what happened in the whole city. This picture here is from the house of my aunt. So the house was the whole month under the water, the whole house. And as you can see, you cannot live there anymore. Here you can see the people use the water to wash the clothes, and we have a lot of donations. It was unbelievable because we received so many donations from the whole Brazil that we could have this anymore here in our university. Then we make some partnerships with the city, with the companies here, and then receive a lot of donations, and then we spread to other shelters here in São Leopoldo and also in the cities near here. We had also here some time for the religion, so the people can come, and it was something that was good for the mental health. It was not about a religion, but about to have a time to think a little bit, to look into herself. Some groups with our psychology professors that work together with us, women groups, kids groups, and so about mental health. Here you can see we have also done with our pharmacy, so they have done some shampoos and cream, skin cares, and something also for mosquitoes, those things. Everything we have done here into university. That is why we used to say that our class is the whole world, because you use our competences that we are developing with our students in our classes, we apply it at this time. And it was really great to see our students very engaged and involved. And as Unicinos has a big campus, and as you could see in the pictures, we had like a football field. And then we received here the helicopters with the people that had to come here, to the politicals. They started to come to see what has happened here in Rio Grande do Sul. So here you can see our president, the Brazil president, Luiz Inácio Lula. And here is our governor, Eduardo Leite. And here is the mayor of Porto Alegre, Sebastião Melo, because they were more involved. And at this time, when Lula was here, they started to have here in Rio Grande do Sul a special ministry that named Ministry of Reconstruction of Rio Grande do Sul. And then we have a plan of action. I say we as a state, from our governor, and we started with some challenges. So we launched like a hackathon that is a challenge for resilient Porto Alegre. It was from Pacto Alegre, is alliance from different universities, is Unicinos, PUC, and Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul. And this is focused on Porto Alegre. And the idea is to discuss and bring some possibilities and ideas in how Porto Alegre can be more resilient. But then our governor, Eduardo Leite, and our state secretary for innovation, that we received the welcome words today in the morning, they asked her, how could we do the Rio Grande do Sul more resilient? And then in a conversation with her, I talked about moving the city, and I said, maybe we can use this and bring some ideas that we can use here in Rio Grande do Sul. And this is why I'm talking to you about this, what we have facing this here. So this is some catalog about the solutions, because they started to work with the whole partners with the partners in the whole world. And then you can see we have some ideas from Brazil, from Europe and US, and now moving the city is a part of that. So this is I'm very proud about that, because I think it's nice to involve our students and our friends. As I said, moving the city is about a friendship and partners from the whole world. And here we have some guidelines for innovation, adaptation, and climate resilience. And I will give you also the presentation, so into our materials for moving the cities, you can look at a little bit deeper. So you have here in Rio Grande do Sul the management committee of Rio Grande plan, so it's Plano Rio Grande, so we have just to translate. That the coordinator is our governor, Eduardo Leite, and then you have a council of this Plano Rio Grande, that is our vice governor. And this is very interesting because we have a specific scientific committee on adaptation and climate resilience, where Simone is the state secretary that you met today in the morning in this video. She is the coordinator, and it's because of her that we have this possibility to are talking about, and she's waiting for some of your ideas. Then you have some challenges for the reconstruction, and you have to take this in mind. And as you can see, financial restrictions, fiscal rules, bureaucracy, and insufficient technical staff. These are the 4 most challenges that we have for reconstruction. And this is why, because in the last year, so in less than 1 year, we had 10 extreme weather events. Of course, this April, May, it was the most extreme event, but we had in the 1 year more 9. And this is something that we have to think about. Why? And how can we be more resilient? And just to finalize, this was the worst climate catastrophe of Rio Grande do Sul. But at the same time, it was the greatest solidarity in Brazil and in the whole world, because we received donations from all of the world. And the things that we are working as Moving the Cities is something that about solidarity with these people that suffered a little bit too much last year. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you next week in Pittsburgh. And if you have any questions, we can just catch up next week. See you in 1 week.